I'm Jessie Quinn from Cup of Books, and you are watching my very first book haul video. This past December, a lot of friends and family members gave me gift cards to buy books, so I went out and bought books. A lot of books. Besides just being a really big book haul, which is not typical, it's also a book haul where most of the books I've read previously. Being given gift cards meant that I could go out and take the time to buy nice editions. Ooh, okay. A Curse Dark as Gold by Elizabeth C. Bunce. I originally read this book through the library, however I liked it so much I really wanted it in my collection, so I went out and bought a used edition of it off of Amazon. It's not the best edition. Obviously it's missing its dust jacket, and if you can see, the spine's a little damaged, which is a bit of a pity because that's the part you see when it sits on my shelf. This is a fairy tale retelling of the Grimm's brothers Rumpelstiltskin. I think this may actually be one of my favorite fairy tale retellings, if not my absolute favorite, and I will be posting a review on it to tell you all why. Ash by Malinda Lo. I'm so glad this one came with the dust jacket because I also bought this used off Amazon. This was another book that I originally read through the library, but I decided that I liked it enough that I had to have it. It's also another young adult's fairy tale retelling, so take that as you will. This book got a lot of buzz when it first came out because it is a lesbian retelling of Cinderella. I don't think it was as strong as it could have been, but for what it was so enjoyable. The Ladies of Grace Adieu and Other Stories by Susanna Clarke. So a few years back, I read Susanna Clarke's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is a historical fantasy novel that is huge and intricate and utterly fantastic. The Ladies of Grace Adieu are short stories that are sort of set in the same world as Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I've read this before. I really enjoyed it. Magic, madam, is like wine, and if you're not used to it, it will make you drunk. The Dark Wife by Sarah Diemer. I bought this off Amazon. I'm liking it so far. It's a retelling of the Hades and Persephone myth in which Hades is a woman. With a premise like that, I felt I had to read it. Volume 1 of Sapphos Fables by Elora Bishop and Jennifer Diemer. I will be saying a lot more about this book in a review video. However, spoiler alert, I really liked it. Bought it off Amazon. Folklore and Fables by Aesop, Grimm, and Andersen. This is a Harvard Classics collector's edition, which I found at the thrift store. There were a few other Harvard Classics at the thrift store as well. I imagine someone donated a set. However, this was the only one that really had a topic that interested me. The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. And The Simarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien and edited by Christopher Tolkien. I had a hell of a time finding these editions, I'm not gonna lie. The Simarillion, the Fellowship of the Ring, and the Return of the King were all bought off Book Depository. However, when I bought those two books, the same edition of The Two Towers wasn't available for whatever reason, so I ended up getting this edition of The Two Towers from a used bookstore. I have already read Lord of the Rings. I read them for the first time in middle school, so I've so read Lord of the Rings. However, I haven't read The Simarillion, and I'm actually really excited to. I made sure to get these editions because they match my edition of The Hobbit. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which I have read and I love. I know Penguin has a hardcover classics edition of this, which it's cloth-bound hardcover, but I felt like the yellow they used for the hardcover was really ugly. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This is another one I've read. Admittedly, I'm not 100% sold on this cover. I don't really like the black and the pink together. It feels very Hot Topic-y to me. Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, which I just finished. The key design is just so cool. I think this is one of the best designs in the collection. Persuasion by Jane Austen. Everyone I know who's read this book tells me this is Austen's best work. However, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I'm hoping I'll get to read it sometime this year. Emma by Jane Austen, another one that I haven't read, so I can't quite say what the chair on it is supposed to symbolize, but I do really like the design. I think the colors are really well matched. And finally, the last one I haven't read is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I really like this cover. I hear this is one of the least loved Austen novels out there, but I'm gonna give it a try at some point. I looked at a lot of different covers and editions of the Jane Austen novels before I settled on the Penguin English Library editions because I really liked the designs. So yes, this was my book haul for December and January. Do you hear the people sing, singing the songs of angry men? I still got that song in my head and I can't get it out, so I'm trying to sing it out, but I don't know all the words, which is really embarrassing given my obsession with musical theater.